Daily English expression while you sleep. Day 30. Sharing your favorite recipes for desserts. One of my favorite dessert recipes is for chocolate chip cookies. I have a fantastic recipe for homemade apple pie. Let me share with you my secret recipe for a delicious strawberry shortcake. I love making a classic vanilla sponge cake with buttercream frosting. Have you ever tried making homemade brownies? I have an amazing recipe. I enjoy baking a mouth-watering lemon tart with a buttery crust. One of my go-to dessert recipes is for creamy and smooth cheesecake. I have a fantastic recipe for a rich and fudgy chocolate lava cake. Let me tell you about my recipe for a decadent triple chocolate mousse. I love making homemade ice cream and my favorite flavor is mint chocolate chip. I enjoy baking a classic carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. Have you ever tried making homemade cinnamon rolls? They are to die for. Let me share with you my recipe for a refreshing fruit salad with a citrus dressing. I have a fantastic recipe for a fluffy and moist red velvet cake. I love making a creamy and indulgent tiramisu from scratch. One of my go-to dessert recipes is for a classic apple crumble. I have a fantastic recipe for a rich and creamy chocolate pudding. Let me tell you about my recipe for a luscious strawberry cheesecake. I enjoy making homemade chocolate truffles with various fillings. Have you ever tried making homemade fruit cobbler? It's a crowd pleaser. I love baking a batch of soft and chewy oatmeal cookies with raisins. Let me share with you my recipe for a moist and flavorful banana bread. I have a fantastic recipe for a heavenly coconut cream pie. I enjoy making a classic French éclair with a creamy filling and chocolate glaze. One of my go-to dessert recipes is for a delightful blueberry muffin. I have a fantastic recipe for a refreshing key lime pie with a graham cracker crust. Let me tell you about my recipe for a comforting bread pudding with a vanilla sauce. I love making homemade chocolate-dipped strawberries for a simple yet elegant dessert. Have you ever tried making homemade pecan pie? It's a southern favorite. I enjoy baking a batch of delicate and crispy meringue cookies. One of my favorite dessert recipes is for a classic New York-style cheesecake. I have a fantastic recipe for a light and fluffy angel food cake with whipped cream. Let me share with you my recipe for a rich and decadent chocolate mousse cake. I love making a refreshing and tangy lemon sorbet from scratch. One of my go-to dessert recipes is for a gooey and delicious chocolate brownie. I have a fantastic recipe for a moist and flavorful pumpkin pie with a buttery crust. Let me tell you about my recipe for a heavenly tiramisu ice cream cake. I enjoy making homemade caramel popcorn for a sweet and crunchy treat. Have you ever tried making homemade raspberry jam? It's perfect for spreading on scones. I love baking a batch of warm and cinnamon-spiced snickerdoodle cookies. Let me share with you my recipe for a creamy and smooth peanut butter fudge. I have a fantastic recipe for a mouth-watering peach cobbler with a buttery biscuit topping. I enjoy making a classic chocolate chip banana bread for a tasty snack. One of my favorite dessert recipes is for a velvety chocolate mousse with a hint of espresso. I have a fantastic recipe for a refreshing and light strawberry lemonade sorbet. Let me share with you my recipe for a decadent molten lava cake with a gooey chocolate center. I love making homemade coconut macaroons with a crisp exterior and chewy interior. Have you ever tried making homemade fruit popsicles? They're a refreshing treat on a hot day. Let me tell you about my recipe for a creamy and flavorful tiramisu cheesecake with ladyfingers. I enjoy baking a batch of soft and chewy peanut butter cookies with a chocolate drizzle.